if you're wondering if it's actually possible for you to build an online business that you dream of, that pays you really well, that gives you more freedom than you ever imagined, this episode is for you. Today, we're just doing like a casual sit down. I'm going to share all the things that I wish I had been told at the beginning of my journey. I've now done over $1.8 million in sales online. And there's just certain things that I wish I had known sooner, because I know if I did, if somebody had told me these things, then my journey would have happened totally different. I would have hit the success that I wanted a lot faster. And so I hope it's okay. I don't have a script or anything. I do have some notes. So I'm going to look down at my notes, but I just want to show you how to leverage this advice and apply it to your own business. And I want you to take what you need, leave what you don't. Maybe all of these things won't apply to you. Maybe they will. But I just want you to listen with an open mind and take what you need from this. All right? So my first thing that I wrote down is, how long are you going to plan and prepare and start and restart and second guess yourself before you actually do it? When I look back at my journey, the first time I ever sat at a business conference, and I remember I was sitting on the front row and there was somebody up on stage speaking. And that person impacted me in such a powerful way that in that moment in the room, I had a dream, I had a idea, a vision, this whole new awakening of, I want to be that for someone. Like, I want to be the person that transforms somebody's life in a powerful way, just like what this person is doing for me. And that was in 2009. And I didn't make my first sale from online coaching or speaking or anything like that until 2017. That is such a long time. And you might think, okay, well, what happened? Like, that was in 2009. What did you do? I thought I was doing it. Like, I was reading, I was learning, I was even posting some stuff on social media. I would dabble in things, I would dip my toe in the water, I would test things. It never worked. And I was like constantly dabbling, right? And when I look back on it, like, I didn't realize I was doing it at the time. At the time, I thought I was working. I thought I was implementing. I thought I was actually doing it. And I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, you weren't. You were just like playing business, just like a little kid plays house or plays school. I was playing business. And I convinced myself that all this busy work and all this planning and all this preparing was work, when in reality, it was just playing. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And I wanted to talk about it because I wish somebody had like taken me by the shoulders and kind of like shook me a little bit and been like, Jordan, what are you doing? You're not actually doing it. And, you know, I invested in a lot of courses and coaching programs, and, you know, I even generated some leads and I did some things, but I never committed to it and I never followed through, and I never stuck with any one idea long enough to actually get traction. And it set me back like 8 years, which is crazy. And I don't want that to happen to you. Maybe you're there right now. Maybe this is your moment. Maybe I'm the person right now who's looking you in the eye and saying, what the heck are you doing? Why are you playing when what you really want to be doing is building a business? So there's my first thing. My second thing is like, okay, cool. All right, Jordan, you're right. I'm just playing business. What do I do? How do I change it? How do I get out of it? You've got to draw your line in the sand. You have to. And you, like, I was thinking as I was preparing this video and really thinking like what I wanted to talk to you about, like, what changed for me? What finally got me to go from playing business to building a business? And for me, I'll never forget, it was December of 2016. I was in the middle of a divorce after a very toxic, really terrible relationship. I had been married almost 5 years. And I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment with my 2 dogs. And I was living off my savings, still playing business. I had a few income streams, but none of them related to coaching business, right? None of them were related to what I actually wanted to be doing, right? So, I had like some affiliate marketing things and a few things that, like, I had some money coming in. I think at the time I was making about $3,000 a month, but never from coaching, never from courses, never from my own personal brand and my own thing, because I was just playing. And, I was going live on Facebook every freaking day. I was doing the morning routine. I was, buying the courses, making the videos. I was still playing business because I wasn't actually moving forward. So that really came to a head in December of 2016. I'd been living in my apartment for like 4 or 5 months then at that point. And for the first time, I looked at my bank account and I realized that the clock was running out. That my monthly expenses exceeded the amount of money I was bringing in. And that had been true for a few months, but I had a big enough savings, a big enough cushion that I didn't really stress about it. And then one morning I sat there and I opened it up and I was like, holy crap, I've got to do this or else I'm going to have to go get a job. Which to me at that particular time in my life, I have nothing against jobs. I think jobs are great. I think for a lot of situations, going to get a job while you're building your business is actually really good because it takes you out of that desperation mode and it allows you to think more creatively and make wiser, more long-term decisions versus decisions that you're making out of desperation because you have to pay the bills and keep the lights on. But for me, at that particular time that I was at in my life, because of the divorce and all the things that had transpired leading up to that and after that, in my mind at that time, I saw going to get a job as like the ultimate expression of failure for me. And I was not going to do that. I was not going to fail. I was like, oh my gosh, I am not going to prove everybody right. I want to prove them wrong. And I kind of had my line in the sand moment. And it's funny, I'm not much of a crier. I don't cry very often. I'm not very emotional. I don't say that as like a badge of honor. It's just who I am and how I am. But I did the most illogical thing ever. And I went down to Austin, Texas, which is like a 6-hour drive. I went by myself, stayed in a hotel room down the street from this conference. And the conference was fine. The conference was a one-day event on Saturday, but the night before we had like a little leadership dinner with a group of ladies who were all making way much more money than me. I don't even know how I got invited to this dinner. I think in hindsight, looking back, it was probably some kind of a mistake, although it was definitely like serendipitous because we sat there and they were going around the table asking us all to share like what we had been doing in our business that was working that year. And they got to me and all these people had shared all these amazing things. And I just instantly broke down in tears, like sobbing, ugly crying in front of this table of total strangers. And I was like, I am so sorry. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm crying. And what was crazy about it is like 3 of the ladies at that table had been through a divorce. They were on the other side of it. They gave me so much insight. I think for me, it was one of those things where like when I was in the middle of it, I thought it was going to define my life for the rest of my life. And it ended up, I'll always be thankful for my dad because I talked to my dad about it one day and he said, one day this will be a blip on your radar and you won't even remember that it happened. You won't even think about it. Like the day will pass. It won't even cross your mind. And he's like, right now it feels like it's your whole life, but one day it will be a blip on your radar. And that is so true that like now looking back at it, it's now 2025. So that was 9 years ago. I don't even think about it. Like it's such a blip in my radar. It's not even something I bring up anymore, really. This is the first time I've talked about it in years. But in that moment, that breakdown was my line in the sand moment. And my mom called me a few weeks later. She and I actually launched our coaching business together. And we decided we went to another event, we invested more. So like we weren't afraid to invest, we weren't afraid to take risk. And that was where we went to that event and we officially kicked off and launched our personal brand, which is now grown into the Global Freedom Community, which is this like massive community of tens of thousands of people from countries all over the world, brands or businesses all over the world. But it all started with that line in the sand moment. And I'm starting to realize right now why I usually use scripts for my YouTube videos, because I'm totally rambling and I hope you're getting good stuff out of it. But what I wanted to mention is that business, in order to draw your line in the sand, it requires 4 things. It requires investment of your time and sometimes money. It requires risk. The action you take may not work out. And if it doesn't work out, there is a consequence. If you don't do it, something bad might happen. And then the next thing is it requires discipline and focus. You have to do the thing you said you would do long after the feeling you said it in has passed. Even when you don't feel like it, you have to have the discipline to do the things you have to do to grow your business, to move it forward, even when those things suck. And then you've got to focus. You can't be chasing shiny objects and jumping around from thing to thing to thing and constantly starting and restarting and tweaking and changing and moving around, or you're always going to be starting over. And that leads me into number 3, which is you've got to stop chasing your business with random strategies. When I look back at the first few years of my business, when I was playing business and not actually building a business, I would buy a course on how to do YouTube marketing, and then I'd invest in this affiliate marketing program, and I'd go generate some leads over here, and then I'd send people to this webinar, and then I'd create this funnel, and then I'd do that, and I was like always jumping around, and of course I wasn't making sales, of course I wasn't growing, because I was always doing something different. And I was always changing my mind, and I never stuck with anything long enough to get traction or actually get results. And that is insane. Like, that is the definition of insanity, to constantly be jumping around and expecting things to change and expecting things to get better, when in reality, you've got to focus. You've got to get clear on the one thing that's going to be the difference that makes the difference in your business. And that is building your business in a way that gives you a step-by-step system that sets you up for success. Because yes, you probably do need to get confident on camera. Yes, you do need a sales funnel. Yes, you do need to know how to put together a paid offer. You do need to grow an audience on social media. But if you're doing all of these things at random and you're constantly jumping from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, you're just like a squirrel who's running around grabbing random nuts, preparing for the apocalypse, right? Like you're just like hoarding all this information, and it becomes all this stuff that and you don't know how to use. And so you've got to figure out how to put it together into a step-by-step system. And that was when everything changed for me. When I stopped building random strategies and I said, okay, this is what needs to happen. This is what needs to be done in order to get what I want. And if it didn't fit the system, and if it didn't align with the system, it was a no. It wasn't going to be anything that I was going to use. It was not going to be anything I would invest my time or my money in if it didn't fit within the system. So if you're kind of like, cool, okay, I see that. I've been playing business. I'm ready to stop doing that. I've drawn my line in the sand. Now, where's the system? I actually put together a new free resource. It's brand new. Called my Autopilot Profit Playbook. And in this playbook, I'm giving you the exact 5-step system that I used that took me from finally making my first sale to hitting 20K months in 90 days after years of just playing business and making no money. And it's not going to work for you. I'm just telling you, it's not going to work for you if you're still playing business and if you haven't drawn your line in the sand. But if you will do those 2 things, and then you'll download the playbook and follow the steps, it will work for you. So you can download it at globalfreedomcommunity.com/playbook. And I'm going to link it below for you as well. Let me know in the comments too if you have any questions. Also, I'd love to know if you like this style of video. I know it's kind of rambly, a little bit long, a little less like high production than normal. But I enjoy these. They're fun. I feel like I'm just sitting here talking to you at a coffee shop, which is kind of cool. So if you think it's cool, let me know so I'll know to make more of them. And go download the playbook. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed yet. And I will see you back here for the next video.